understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
End credits. Wouldn't that be amazing? There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement. Using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 7 of us in this room, 4 of them, friends at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hannah's giving me the same looks as them now. Though Mint has already gone loon, crouched in a corner and muttering to herself. You can't really say anyone's safe from her. Although, ironically, she's the least threat, considering her lack of food for a while. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way when they all huddle in the corner behind Steel and Feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant, like knocking out my trained killer butler. She's only human after all, it's never an excuse. Why, even Hannah has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day, if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her, now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Luke, please put that knife away. This isn't going to solve anything.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here. You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, or all of you, none of this would have happened!
Don't worry, I got this. Is your life all that matters to you?
What about these people here? Don't they have the same problem? What about me, Luke? Do you even care?
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare, Hannah! That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with. If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose.
Why, no. Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift. For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
And there it is, right? The doctor's appointments?
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right. Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hannah? Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hannah steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. Said knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes in the side of my head, sending me reeling backward. Damn, just duffs him. She merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke. Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way.
That Hannah is never the weak woman I believe her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? When you look at her now, the way she stands tall facing a man like me, the same way she has done so all those years ago, I can't help but think. Am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Mrs. Luke Wright. What a bunch of shite. Figures why she wants to leave me.
And these people are only trying to help us.
Oh, of course, by barging into our home. Are you really going to trust them to save your life? These peasants who brought this pox upon us.
Keep talking about us like that, and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at the other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me. particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not too mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steel, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it. Neither does Feathers. With both merely watching us. Bunch of wimps, these men. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension is lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
we still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that, admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and me. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. Yeah, with or without the letter, that would explain, because this has bothered me since the beginning of the game, when the ghost called Isabella on her phone to lead her to find the letter in the first place. But how could she do that if the letter's the key to all this? So, it's probably just a house. The letter's just an excuse, I'll bet. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends have no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats to that explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her right! Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spread across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she's here, her ramblings having faded away in the shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right there, then and there, but the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got!
No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh God, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time. At the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still managed to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with, likely, the same questions in our eyes.
What?
Oh, I just thought... I mean, it's a straight thought, don't take my word for it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach?
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
I was just thinking... Maybe Ash is right. For why he went here. This is where Bella found that thing, right? And then... this.
It was just a hunch, Zach. We were not getting anywhere. But just because we went here doesn't mean we will find all the answers we need here. Hell, now we're stuck here.
Regardless, Steele pauses, allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope? Of all things? In this nightmare? Hope? Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance? Or a confirmation? The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place. Think about it.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value.
What? No? We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Seriously, Luke, are you really more worried about that?
Yeah, priorities, dude.
Buttercup, mansion, millions. It's going to take years getting all that money back.
Luke is... his voice actor is having so much fun.
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
How dare they suggest something like that? Bloody peasants! My head's already aching just listening to them, to think this is all the solution they could come up with, even though nobody actually put that as the solution. I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. Wow. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have become louder, and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shit about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. As Johannes so aptly put it, it's more satisfying to say, I told you so. Oh boy! Wow, hello! Burning the letter won't do anything, blah 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 blah. But burning the mansion, I am going to regret this, I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast. Think fast. And what else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lilia said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up in the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it. Millions! With a sigh and perhaps a heavy heart, I open one of the drawers in my study table, and we get poetic full circle because we burn it with our mother's lighter. Taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it on to every occupant of the room. That is magnanimous considering the character and the situation. They accept it, but not without a look of protest or a confused glance my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good.
Look, this isn't the time.
Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
We waste no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they're more than eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. Are you kidding me? So we get the paper anyway. Alright, we're cool. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hana, the small fire soon turns into an inferno. Oh my god, I just realized Johannes is still upstairs. Please, please, please do not kill Johannes. I would not like that. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. It doesn't exactly lead where I'm hoping it will, although ending up in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Yes! Door after door in every room we pass. I can't wait till we find Johannes and Luke's like, what the hell is this? Pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. Where is he? When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take one off from many nooks I've stashed one. That's amazing. They don't have to run to the wine cellar because Luke just stashes bottles of wine to sneak in. Wow. Come on, wrong room. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from a distant relative, friends, so-called friends, you name it. I've made sure there's always one within reach.
How many of these things do you keep in this house?
I always have a few bottles in the bedroom, you know, the parlor and the dining room.
You have problems, man.
Well, isn't this the time to discuss them?
Turns out it'll be useful now. 2 alcohol. The cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this. Wonder of wonders, though I suppose I can now say it has also saved my life. But there's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate. Wouldn't it become harder? Unless it means you can't loop back into those rooms. Where the hell is Johannes? As if it's slowly righting itself. Okay, returning to what it's supposed to be. Come on. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door without the best character in the damn game. The strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we previously torched, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blaze has also started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, that is when she appears again before us, watching us from the top of the stairs while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eyes is that expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, nor the one where her eyes gleam with complete hatred. This one? Forlorn is the only word I can think of to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
You know, I do have to wonder, this is the save everyone ending, but is there like a best ending where we solve the curse? Because this ghost is definitely like in a world of trouble herself. Like she's clearly looking for a way out of her situation, and this is probably not it. Can the dead still feel? Can she hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. And I don't waste any time pondering over it. Not with the exit just a few steps away. The door's finally open, and through it I can glimpse the world outside. Safety. However, I do turn, if only to see the last of her. A farewell more than anything. For all her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me when I finally run from this horrid place. Quietly, she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me, for some reason nothing about this bothers me. Maybe it's that one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxburn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into this room from the outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. Epilogue. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxburn City after the incident. Officers who investigated it have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident. Wow, these guys suck! Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright files criminal charges against Prior Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy. Ouch. So Isabella's out of a job. A move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But, for those who still believe in the stories of the old, and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. Yeah, the letter did say help me the entire time, right? As for those who once treaded its halls. Hey, we got the individuals! After a period of brief separation, Hannah Wright returns to Luke Wright's side. Not without its fair share of challenges, of course, especially for Luke, but for the sake of their children, he tries, although the man still fears fatherhood, afraid of becoming like his father was to him. However, with a little help from Hannah, he eventually comes around, especially when the twins are born. He's still far from being a good father. He thinks he will never be. There are parts of him that will always remain unpleasant and will exasperate Hannah to no end. But even someone like him sees the joy in this, in having a family. For the first time in a long while, he admits he's content. What a happy ending for the guy who's been overt about having had people killed repeatedly. But hey, a happy ending for him, I guess. They're happy. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCulloch heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of a past she has left hanging for so long. There she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. Although the terror of what she has witnessed inside the Ermengarde mansion still clings to her, she bravely chooses to move on from it, turning a new leaf by focusing on a new branch of her interior design company, and leaving her interior design company at Luxburn in the hands of her secretary instead. Although she never returns to the city after, she is frequently seen visiting to check on the people she has become acquainted with in her years there. Having finally accepted herself, she won't deny she's in a happier place now. Despite making the Ireland branch of her interior design company her focus now, Marianne continues to cater to her most avid patrons in Luxburn when requested. And after her work on the Ermengarde mansion, the Wright couple, particularly Hannah Wright, have never trusted another to handle the design for any of the places they own. Upon moving to their new place after giving birth to hers and Luke's children, Marianne's name is the first thing she calls, while the woman is quick to fly back to the city at the socialite's summons. Not only helping with the decorations of their new place, but also assisting with the renovations, much to Hannah's delight. Since then, the two women have kept a close friendship. Often they can be seen going around town together when Marianne's in town, and Hannah can be heard recommending the designer to her peers during parties. In a city often keeping an ear out for any gossip, one can't deny that both women have found a confidant in the other. With help from family and friends, Zachary Steele is soon able to open a photography studio of his own, something he has only dreamed of having as a child. Although he still hopes to get back to making indie films someday, client work and small projects have kept him mostly busy. Hectic as it may be, he can only be glad for the amount of work pouring in. It has made moving on from the incident in the Ermengarde mansion easier, if not faster. But while there are still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times, when he's not busy, or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. An idea he may soon turn into reality, or a video game once his time affords it. Unknown to many, Hannah Wright has also played a huge role in getting Zach's new studio up and running. But for all the latter's efforts to try and thank the woman, she insists keeping her investment a secret, as she merely wishes to help out, having been impressed by his skills in the fields during the brief time they worked together. A working relationship that continues to this day, as he is the only photographer she seeks at every single event she hosts, whether it's a simple social gathering or a company party. Beyond work, they also remain close friends to this day, marked by frequent visits to his studio or casual talks over lunch or dinner. A friendship that seems only to grow in time, especially after her children were born, who have become especially fond of the man. Both have never directly answered what the real case may be, but it is clear Hannah trusts the photographer enough to place her children in his care every time she and Luke Wright leave the city for business. Although her husband's relationship with Zach is still lukewarm, at best, despite her hopes through the years, he has learned to wisely keep his opinions to himself. Perhaps out of respect to his wife and her close friend. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxburn's major academic circles, especially after writing what she has discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde mansion. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she is soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Speaking of Clark, they're not going to get resolution on Luke, are they? He had a happy ending. That's weird. Now at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much, she perseveres. doing it not for herself, but for the sake of a history the future generation must never forget. No matter how disturbing her experience with the curse may have been, she remains the worrywart she has always been. Even after what she has seen, she continues to fret over people she cares about, sometimes much to their frustration or embarrassment. But if there's one thing that has shifted, it's her relationship with the people in their little group, particularly with Zachary Steele. In fact, on numerous occasions, she has been spotted dropping by his new studio, bringing the man food on days when he's swamped with work. They also seem to have grown more comfortable around each other than before. Yeah, they always kept a respectful distance before, haven't they? Maybe it's born out of their shared experience. Or maybe the way they see each other has simply changed naturally due to the years they've known each other. Regardless of the whys, without an apostrophe, it's a change the man welcomes and appreciates. In turn, he strives to return her kind gestures whenever he can. For all the horrors they've seen, who would have thought something good would come of it? Although not seen as frequently with his friends recently due to work, when Ashton Frey finds the time, he sometimes helps out Rebecca with her research. Mostly just to help her bring research materials. Despite Rebecca's old feeling for the man, they remain good friends to this day. She never brings it up again after the night of her confession. Also, his hairstyle has changed. Both of theirs have, I think. Once is enough. While she still cares for Ashton as a dear friend, it is clear she has already moved on from her childhood crush. Finally accepting it as a part of her life that has already gone by, much like everything that has changed between them. And with this acceptance comes a more selfless person who genuinely cares for her friends, beyond any selfish feelings she used to cling to. Looking back at it now, she recognizes that how things played out is certainly for the better. Not only for others, but also for herself. Amidst her struggles, Rebecca finds an unlikely companion in Luke Wright. I know she likes Kylie, but damn. While being a father has kept him busy nowadays, he still manages to make time for his goddaughter, Kylie Suarez, though the man still won't admit it when asked. Rebecca still regards the man as insufferable. Okay. She doubts it'll ever change. But after all she has seen, much as she denies it, she now considers his presence the closest thing she has to comfort. A similar sentiment the businessman seems to hold, even confiding in the woman of his own problems and fears, things he couldn't voice out to his wife. Their friendship may be awkward at best, but with the grim reality of death having once shadowed over the two of them, it's something they eventually grow fond of, in time. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and with their blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation. Yeah, quit, that's what happened. Unless she quit before they declared bankruptcy, and takes the scholarship offer from the local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with help from people close to her. Yeah, who is this nearby? Is it Ash? And with her confidence in her skills growing, so did the number of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-giving bodies to take notice of her. For all her accomplishments, however, she has never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde mansion. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life. They've become part of her, in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid. And with a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope amidst the fear. Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxburn University, Isabella moves from Salem Well Residences in favor of staying in a dorm close to her campus. Although Rebecca Gales is quick to offer assistance for the move, she does admit she will be missing her neighbor of more than 5 years. When all is said and done, she has become fonder of the girl over the years, and with their shared experience over the curse, they have only grown closer. Isabella leaves with a promise to visit every once in a while. And even though she still jokingly complains about Rebecca's bossy attitude, she confesses that she also misses the woman's fussing. After all, in a place miles away from her real family, Rebecca is still the closest thing she has to a sister. More than a year later, once everything in their respective lives have settled, Zachary Steele and Isabella Santos finally hold their first exhibit together. That's great. A project that has been in the making for almost 2 years, after the photographer casually brought it up to the other artist. While merely intended as a small event that has been surprisingly attended by several members of Luxburn's upper class and art enthusiasts. Although only a few of the pieces had been meant for sale, the show has brought prominence to Zachary and Isabella's names in the city's art scene. Here's a fun, obscure grammar rule. They don't share a name. So you wouldn't say Zachary and Isabella's. You would say Zachary's and Isabella's names. You could say Zachary and Isabella's exhibit, because it's their exhibit. It has since been followed by several other exhibits by the two, both in and out of the city. Currently, they are planning to hold their first show overseas. Yet, even with his unexpected overwhelming fame, friendship between the two has remained strong. Theirs, after all, is a bond that goes beyond being mere partners in a small project. He's her family, as much as she is his. While she's aware she still has plenty of ways to go, she still has a ways to go. Getting back to school has also opened a lot of opportunities for Isabella. At times, part-time work has started to come in droves, and she is able to support herself financially through her art alone, something she has only dreamed of as a child. And when clients are generous enough, she's able to send money back home as well, despite her family's reassurances. One such client is Marianne McCulloch's interior design company, who frequently commissions her for murals after the woman has learned of her skill. Though at times she finds it difficult to keep up with the interior designer's standard for quality, it's a job and a challenge she's only too happy to accept, if it means doing what she loves. Following his success in bringing several major cases to a close, Ashton Frey receives a recommendation for transfer to Luxburn's lead agency against organized crimes. Are we going to talk about the conspiracy at all? An endorsement eagerly backed by the newly appointed successor to the late Chief Inspector Lee, Abigail Harris. Knowing he'll have more resources, leeway, and a bigger chance at ultimately bringing Luke Wright to justice, Ashton Frey accepts. Yeah, just Luke lives happily ever after, and Ash is like, damn it. That's a weird one. He still warns the people close to him against Wright and his associates, but only a friendly reminder now, more than anything. Though he does worry, he believes they are wise enough to know what they're doing and trust their judgment. They all saw. Luke had them at knife point. And Ash and all of them actually at gunpoint and knife point. For now, he has decided to leave the evidence and the law to speak for itself, and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive, simply growing more determined after having finally found a clear purpose close to the rush and excitement he dreamed of as a child. Although Ashton still keeps mum about specific details of his work, his experience with the curse has slowly taught him how to open up, especially to those whom he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of the people who are still with him, those who have chosen to stay, he hopes that there will come a day when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he is no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. On his days off, Ashton is usually seen loitering around Zachary Steele's studio, either to help him out on one of his pet projects or exasperating the other man on purpose. Either or, it's mostly the latter. At certain times, he'll volunteer to model for one of Zach's projects, in spite of the photographer's reassurances that it's not needed. Regardless, Ashton insists, before complaining how meticulous the whole process is hours later, to Zach's utter amusement. Though sometimes they may get into small trivial arguments, things have stayed cordial between the two. If anything, the ordeal they've both gone through has merely strengthened a friendship the detective didn't expect to find in anyone. Between the lingering trauma and their measly attempts at normalcy, both Ashton and Isabella know that there are things that will never be the same. Gone is their friendly banter and rapport, as are their petty arguments and light teasing. After all that has been said and done, it's only sensible for things to fall apart the way it all did. It is inevitable, so to speak. Yet, in brief moments when their eyes meet and a last stolen glance is given, a shadow of it can still be seen in them. A quiet, steadfast thing that remains. A trace of what could have been, had things not crumbled. Neither holds on to it, of course, as much as they wish to. Both of them think it's already far too late. They can only walk away from it and leave nothing but a heavy regret in their wake. Interesting. And the ghost, I guess, is just disappointed. I really wonder if there's a super ending. But in any case, this was a really solid game. I really appreciate when visual novels have options that actually matter. As in, it's not just flavor text. These actually have repercussions later. It cannot be easy to make a game like this. But they went ahead and did it, I must say. That's really awesome. Let's see if there's anything after the credits. I'm assuming maybe like, yeah, Dear You. If you're reading this, that means you've finished playing the game in one way or another, and we thank you for the time you've spent in playing the letter. The game is our passion project more than anything, and we sincerely hope we delivered in bringing you a one-of-a-kind visual novel experience. The letter is the first of many visual novels coming from us. If you liked what we did with this game and would like to support us, click the support button. Thank you so much for everything. Let's talk soon. The YYM team. That was great. You know, I'm curious. I am curious. Well, it's not going to be news. That's like internet stuff. I can click continue. What does that mean? No, that's it. That's depressing. Click continue. They can only leave regret in their wake. So it's a quick way to the credits. I was wondering if I could, like, New Game Plus it. Like, I mean, there's no such thing as New Game Plus, but I mean, like, have the game store the information in the chart. Maybe it does do that, because I do have the gallery, right? I apparently am capable of maxing visuals for certain chapters. Item sprites, backgrounds, CGs, epilogue. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of epilogues because people could have freaking died. That's so, okay, we do understand that much then. Extras? There's achievements. The letter? Oh, that, okay, well. Art book. Oh, that takes me directly to Steam, so that's not going to help. What else we got? Music room. No, it's still the freaking Steam page. So, okay, within the game, it's basically achievements. We got a bunch. We did, but as you can see, there's a lot more to go with, depending on different paths we could have taken. And as you saw when we died with Marianne, it says, a memory fragment has been unlocked. So we haven't touched any of that, because we lived with everyone. But there you go, that was the letter. A truly interesting and beautiful experience. Well, we have done it. We have beaten the letter, and that was certainly an interesting game. I have to say, I really appreciate that the choices in this game mattered, whether it was going to different locations or affecting relationships. I find it a breath of fresh air, because I have played some games where choices are pretty much just fluff. Do you think we should do this? Yes or no? And then you choose something and they're like, yeah, but I really think we should, or whatever, you just get driven toward the intended goal anyway. So it's really nice that choices actually make a difference in characters' actions, and even life and death, in some cases. I managed to keep everyone alive, although 2 of my choices would have gotten my characters killed. I never ended up showing what would have happened to Zach, and Marianne, we did see that. That was unpleasant. We ultimately got an epilogue, which part of that felt weird. Luke lived happily ever after, and Ash will hopefully catch him one day. I don't know. I mean, I guess things could have been different depending on how I handled different interactions. Speaking of which, I was very neurotic about keeping everybody happy, which I think I addressed at the beginning of the Let's Play. I probably shouldn't have been doing, because then it would be more about what I, the player, want than keep everyone happy, but maybe not with a necessarily satisfactory conclusion. Although I do admit that most of the epilogues had pretty satisfactory conclusions. Although it felt weird to end with Ash and Isabella just awkward and like, and then the credits roll. That was a little weird. However, even though we made it through the curse and we burned the mansion down and our characters are safe, that did not feel like a true ending, probably because it wasn't. We don't know what cursed the ghost in the first place. We don't know exactly what she wanted to help prevent the curse, or cure it, or what. Something with Luke becoming master of the house, possibly? But we didn't really go farther than that. The thing is, we probably could have found out, depending on different choices we had made. That's the beauty of this game. In fact, you'll notice that when we died as Marianne, it says something about some fragment of memory unlocked. I did not look into what that was, but I guess if you get all the characters killed, you can get more and more fragments of memory and get more into the ghost's backstory. And maybe there's something you can do. I don't know if you have to beat the game to attempt a true end, or if you could get the true end right the first time through, but there is definitely more to the game than I showed. which is great. It allows for replay value, and you'll actually see something different each time. It's not like you go through all of the same motions and then, oh, but don't die this time. You could play radically different games. For example, the incredibly awkward moment in the Let's Play, where Luke expressed very blunt racism. Somebody in the comments section had told me that Luke has a history that led him to become what he is today in that regard. I don't know what it is. I didn't take that path, I guess. But apparently, Luke has some kind of precedence for this. But because of the path I take, he, in my playthrough, he just randomly was racist, and then we're just not going to talk about that again, and it was really weird. Why was that in the game? Apparently we could have explored that more, but it just didn't end up going that way. So, again, even though that's an uncomfortable angle to take, there are many things that we could have seen in the game, which I find quite interesting. Speaking of interesting, I found out that the developers for this game are in the Philippines. I didn't realize this was a horror game made in the Philippines the whole time. So we've gotten another game from another country, which is pretty rad. Although, I mentioned this many times in the playthrough, their subtitling definitely could have used another grammatical once-over. I don't think at almost any point I was straight up confused about intended messages, but there were definitely a lot of things that could have been adjusted, and there was one, maybe two lines that didn't match with the subs in my playthrough. That one thing about Ash insinuating that Zack had died, it was like, wait, what? And then nothing came of that. That was bizarre. But still, I think they expressed at the end this was going to be their first VN project out of hopefully more to come. So this is extremely impressive in that regard. Very well animated. The characters actually had dynamic interactions with each other, which I thought was pretty cool. For a first project, this is actually spectacular. Very cool in that regard. I was quite pleased with that. The environments were interesting. There was, I think I said well animated, but not only that, but just about everything had animation, just in general. There were a few writing tropes, though. There was a lot of instances of my character saying something weird, and then other characters looking at them like they'd grown a second head. We get that a bunch. Or I felt like something was wrapping around me and squeezing. Or the three single words in a row, I looked into the abyss and it was beckoning, calling, enticing, or something like that. The 1, 2, 3 kind of pattern. Definitely tropes of that. But even so, I felt that the overall script was solid. The voice actors sounded like they were having a ton of fun, especially Luke. Oh man. I hate that character, but I love that voice actor. The only thing I really feel bad about in my playthrough, and I probably shouldn't, because the guy seems like a lunatic, but, well, not a lunatic, but just a cold-blooded serial killer, is Johannes. I didn't want him to die, and I'm pretty sure he did. We just kind of don't talk about that. We burned down the mansion, and I guess he's dead. Nothing addressed about him in the epilogue or what. Man, I like that character, though. I did. Even if he was totally bloodthirsty at the end. I like that character. But oh well. In any case, this was overall a really fun game to play. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it. And of course, special thanks to Gelly Elfson for selecting this game for me to play in the first place. This was definitely a blast, and I look forward to seeing where we go from here. Until next time, everyone.